Hey everyone, Egman here with another video. I am finally reviewing the campaign rares and a couple other cards that they announced and released on Friday. I was in the hospital on Friday. My fiance was recovering from a surgery. Everything's fine, and everyone who reached out to me during that time, I really appreciate. Both of us really do. I read your comments to her, and she's really happy to hear that people were caring about her. So thank you guys so much for that. But yeah, and then I almost didn't make this video because, to be honest, I feel like most people watch my analysis videos just because it's hashtag first a lot of the time, and I wasn't able to do that this time. And I usually also like to do blind reading of the cards, so just to get my kind of like gut reaction. But apparently a couple of you guys reached out like, man, why haven't you done campaign rares yet? So here we go. I'm doing the video. You got it. Boom, bam. So we got these campaign rares, and they're all Agent of Destruction, which means that these are like what if Babidi control, mind control these characters. And I think it's from the Heroes anime, but it's also just really cool in the sense of like just a big old like a what if campaign kind of thing, and which I've been like asking for a while, so maybe they're listening. I don't know. It's probably just a big old coincidence like most of the things. But let's jump into those cards. So we've got so all of them have kind of this Agent of Destruction. There's I don't think they show where, I don't know where is it. There's a Babidi too, but pretty much all of them are they have this Agent of Destruction tag right here, which really only signifies from the 1-drop Babidi, which I'll get into. Actually, let me find that card first. Okay, here's the Babidi card. So just to kind of, the only reason that the Agent of Destruction tag matters. So it's Barrier, a 1-drop blue. Permanent, you can only have one Babidi Overseer of Destruction play in your battle area. Treat Agent of Destruction cards in your hand as if they had no specific cost. So that's really cool. And then also reduce the energy cost of all Agent of Destruction cards in your hand by 1. So just by playing this on turn 1, it makes it super generic to have any of these Agent of Destruction cards, which is really neat. And then also reduces their cost by 1. So most of them can come out for 2, except for I think Janemba. All right, so going through the line. There is the Vegeta Agent of Destruction. So this, a lot of people are saying this is the best one. It's red, but it also says so auto when you play this card. It's a 3-drop with 2 specific red. When you play this card, choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards with 20k power or less and KO it, which is really strong. Activate once per turn for 1 specific blue and 1 colorless. Your leader card is red. This card gets plus 10k power, double strike, and dual attack for duration of the turn. Just reading this live right now, like your leader is red, like that doesn't sound like a condition. That just is like a statement. So maybe it turns your leader red. That's not the case. But wouldn't that be really funny? Like, oh sweet, now I can play GT Goku. Wow, what a great active main. But yeah, just to be able to put pressure with this guy, he becomes a 30k double strike dual attack for no good reason. And then, and so you can't use Shenron because they learned their lesson, but there's just a lot of big things you can do just for playing this big old boy that also blows up something for free. And you can play this on turn 2 for whatever reason if you play Babidi on turn 1. So, yeah, that seems like a lot of pressure. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. I know I just said Vegeta's the best, but this is actually the best one. So it's Janemba, Agent of Destruction. It's a 4-drop blue Janemba. Wow, we haven't seen those before, but it's also critical. Wow, I haven't seen that before. But so activate the skill when you play this card from your hand. Or warp at the end of your turn. If it's your turn, choose it to 1 of your energy and switch to active mode. And then also activate and send this card to the owner's warp. Draw 1 card, and your opponent places 3 cards at the top of the deck into the drop area. Wow, I haven't seen that before. Yeah, it's just like a really, really good Janemba. Like they're like, oh. People have been liking Mill, and we want to push this deck some more, and so here's another card that like boosts it 100%. The only thing it doesn't have is it doesn't have deflect, so if you want to preemptive strike this guy, you can. I think that's the only thing that matters. And I guess you can cold bloodlust it too, but the fact that it can do 3 cards, the fact that it untaps 1 energy at the end of your turn is really good. And yeah, just a super big boost. A lot of people are complaining like, oh man, Janemba's already the best deck, and it just got direct support. Why are they doing this? And it is, I will say this, it is the best deck right now, February 24th? I mean, it might not even be the best deck, but it's one of the best decks right now on February 24th. That's right, recording this at 1 a.m. But yeah, this is not just an indication of what set 6 will be. Who knows if Mill will even be viable in set 6 if there's some fast deck that wins on turn 2, right? Or anything of that regard. That doesn't mean that Mill is going to be super duper powerful next set, but it does have more tools, which does mean that it's more flexible and has potential to. But I would not be like super scared, especially since like a lot of people are talking about like turn 2, turn 3 Broly wins already, and I don't want, yeah, don't be super afraid yet that this card is broken. We'll see if mill is a viable strategy, and then if it is, it will probably be included in every deck. So that caveat aside, let's go to Lord Slug, Agent of Destruction. So love me some Slug, and auto when you play this card, your opponent chooses one card from their hand, placed in the drop. Love that hand control, as you probably know. And active main once per turn, 1 green, choose up to 1 Slug Armies card from your hand with an original entry cost of 3 or less, other than Lord Slug, Agent of Destruction, play it. So it just lets you do some energy ramp, and I'd say that the only thing about the Slug leader is it's a draw 2 leader, so you don't really get a lot of benefits, and a lot of you can't really swarm the board as easily, even though it's a bond deck, just because you don't have the untapped 2. And so being able to cheat out characters with not only this card, not only with the 1-drop Bobbity, not only and also the what is it? The 1-drop Wings. I think that's the new leader, the new 1-drop for this deck. So there's that. So I think that this will definitely be put in Slug decks if they're popular, and I think people will definitely be trying them just because they got a lot of synergy and a lot of ways to boost up that bond. So next up is there were 2 green ones for whatever reason. I guess they didn't decide to make a black one. Oh, actually, they did not make a black one. And also, low key, I really thought Bobbity was going to be black. I was confused it was blue, just because now any deck that wants to run this Agent of Destruction stuff, they don't have to run blue, but it's like if you're running blue, it just gives you such an advantage, right? And I think that's just a weird design choice, especially since blue already has so much flexibility anyways. Like I guess it's like, oh, if anyone wants to splash bean and things, bam, now you got it. Put Bobbity in, now you got beans, and now you can put Whis' Destruction. Sweet, make 38 more cards. But yeah, anyways, we've got Android 13 of Destruction. It's just a big old critical boy, and then also active main for 2, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. Then your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and place in the drop. So there's like kind of synergy between these two, and they're both kind of just hand control-y. I don't know, it might be hard to put these guys in the same deck, which is unfortunate, but both of them are both good. Android 13 is really weird because the Android 13, like, there's not really like a cell chain for it, right? There's not a whole lot you can do, and if there was, it wouldn't be 13 that would be getting the. I don't know. It's just a weird concept. I don't know. I think Android 13 is just a weird card. If there's an Agent of Destruction deck with green, then obviously you run these 2 decks or these 2 cards, and then it would have to be like a blue-green hybrid deck. I don't know. I think it's possible. And but you'd have to like expend so much energy for this. Like turn 2 you play this, and then turn 3 you just do 2. Now you still got your big 20k or 20k crit guy, and also you can KO one of your opponent's battle cards, and then they drop a card. But for 2 energy, is that really worth it? I'm not sure. So last we've got Bojack, Agent of Destruction. This one's actually my favorite. Auto, when you play this card, choose one of your opponent's rest card or battle cards, ignoring barrier, and switch it to rest mode. We don't really have a really generic thing to do that, and this is a turn 3 option for that, or a turn 2 option to do that if you're good enough. And then also activate for 2. If this card's in rest mode, choose your opponent's leader card, switch it to rest mode, and it can't be switched to active mode until the end of your opponent's next turn. So that's really powerful. The big example everyone jumps on is with Mill Janemba, because milling with their leaders their main effect, and so just being able to plop this guy out and then tapping 2 so they don't mill you for 2 is really powerful and really slows their deck down. So that's really good. And then there's just some other leaders, and just in general, by the time you're able to activate this card's effect, your opponent is missing out on a swing with their leader, and also they can't get their card draw with their leader if they're attacking with the awakened side, right? So that's a lot of advantage you get from doing that, and unless the only ones that doesn't matter is like a Shenron leader. So it's not good for all leaders, of course, but a lot of these kind of more aggressive and leader-centric, like even Broly. Like, Broly is super powerful, and then you can't attack with him. And if they're not awakened with this, and they're trying to awaken with Broly, boom, Bojack, done. It'll be pretty hard to get this out on turn 3, and they're not awakened, and you've got energy to do it. But it's a thing you can do. So really interesting, but most of the reason this card's good is just being able to switch one of your opponent's cards into rest mode, not really caring if they have barrier or not. So Yeah, and then also we got well, first I just want to touch real quick. They made this really cool article about just their mindset developing all the cards for set 6. I'm not going to go over it in detail, but if you want to do it, it's a really good read, and I think I get a lot from trying to see what the developers were trying to do and what they were trying to push for this game, and can just kind of help you a lot with just understanding their design decisions. So anyways, after that, they are also announced the Miraculous Revivals sealed tournament, which is really cool that they're doing this. Looking at this, it seems like they are a little bit less powerful, but I think that's actually really good. It's kind of obnoxious how expensive these cards are, and it's still obnoxious that they're not just giving everyone one copy of each of these cards for whatever reason, but it could be worse, I guess, and we could only get one, so 3 is at least better than 1, right? Cool. Anyways, the cards for this set, we've got King Piccolo Evil Ambitions is a 1-drop. So when you play this card, if your leader card is a red Shenron card, choose up to 3 Dragon Ball cards from your deck, place them in the drop area, then shuffle your deck. If you place cards in your drop area, choose up to 1 King's Return to Youth and activate it, and then shuffle your deck. And for people who don't know what that trash card does... Alright, so what this card does is that if your leader is a red Shenron card, you choose up to 1 King Piccolo Terror Unleashed and a King's Return to Youth from your deck and out to your hand, then shuffle your deck. And then what that card does, it's double strike. If a King's Return to Youth is in your drop area, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1, so it's a 3-drop. So I guess that's nice to have it in the drop, but also activate once per turn if you have 10 cards with Sparking 10. Choose 1 King Piccolo Terror Unleashed or a King's Return Youth from your drop area sent to your warp. If your leader card is a red Shenron, switch this card to active mode. So I guess you just got another swing, I guess. Cool, right? Yeah, I guess so. And the only red Shenron right now is the Oolong leader, which is this guy, or the Pilaf Oolong. And his is that he just gives something plus 15k and you draw 3 cards. So now you've got a, 35k double strike, dual attack Piccolo. Is it once per turn? Yeah, it's even once per turn. They undertune Namekians so much. It's really blatant. Even if this wasn't once per turn, it wouldn't be broken because you'd still have to be running King's Youth, right? That seems bad. But let's go back to it. In general, this seems really powerful if you're running a Shenron. If they make more red Shenrons, just being able to burst awaken. And I think what most of these cards do is it just really helps with some burst awakening. That the black Shenron deck is the only good one, right? Being able to consistently awaken on turn 2 or 3 with the original Dragon Balls is just really powerful, and most of these other decks that you really need to scrounge if you want to get even by turn 3. So just being able to get half the Dragon Balls in there, I think, is a really good decision there. So next up is the Great Saiyaman, Hero of Justice. He's a 2-drop, which kind of sucks. But when you play this card, if your leader is a blue Shenron, choose up to 2 Dragon Balls, add them from your deck to your hand. So that's really powerful instead of just putting them in your drop. And shuffle your deck. And if you add cards to your hand, choose 1 card in your hand and place in your drop area. So you get to do a +1, and then even cooler is that you can just drop one of the Dragon Balls. And so I guess that's kind of important if you're playing against a matchup and you have some hand control, I guess. And you don't want to actually pay the energy to play the 1-star ball. You can just drop it with this. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's a +1, and it's with Dragon Ball, so you get to awaken. So that's cool, I guess. Next up we've got Uub. So Uub's probably the best one in my opinion. So when you play or combo with this card, if your leader is a green Shenron, choose up to 3 Dragon Ball cards in your deck, place them in your drop area, and then shuffle your deck. And then if you place cards in your drop area, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 1 and KO it. So yeah, you just get to super awaken with this guy. Just getting 3 of the Dragon Balls out with just comboing for free, right? And they're also so both the green original Goku Shenron leader, I think, would benefit from this, and also the new Chile and Limo. That's really cool, especially since you kind of want this blow up 1 effect is also nice, because if we're running Chile and Limo, we're probably running that Chile that I love, Chile the Beautiful, and you just get to blow up something, and so they have to drop card. It just has a lot of synergy, and I feel like this is a really good version of that. So having 3 of, I think this is the chase card for this kind of pack. And then there's Tegoma, Frieza's Loyal Servant. And so this card's really weird because, once again, it screws the Namekians over because you have to have a Frieza or Sorbet in play in your battle area to play this without an energy. And then when you play this card, if your leader card is a yellow Shenron, choose up to 1 Dragon Ball card from your deck and place it in your drop area, then shuffle your deck, draw 1 card. You can't play to go for the rest of the turn. And it's really weird that it says choose 1, place it in your drop, and then shuffle your deck and draw 1 card, because that's pretty much saying, oh, get a regular Dragon Ball, add it to your hand, and then play it, right? Like, it's the same thing. It's if you draw 1 after dropping a Dragon Ball, you pretty much just drew with the Dragon Ball effect anyways. It seems just super weird wording. And the fact that you can't play this with the Dende leader, and maybe they did that on purpose, so you can't like tap 2 with Dende and then also play this to get a 3rd one, but I don't think that's super broken, and no one's playing Dende right now anyways, but they decided to put that extra stipulation and to make it just super hard to do that, but whatever. Here, that's the Goma. And then lastly, we've got Vegeta Reluctant Reinforcements, and this card, instead of going kind of over helping the Shenron leader awaken, because it doesn't really need that, it instead is helping with the I guess just overwhelm stuff. So it's Barrier. It's a 3-drop 20k. When you play this card, if your leader is a black standard card, place the top 5 cards from your deck to your drop area. So don't play this card if you're playing Mill. And then also activate for one. Place this card in an owner's drop area. Choose 1 black battle card with a 19k power from your drop area and play it. Which means, all right. So there are 2 Vegetas that kind of hit this stipulation. So there's Black Mass Saiyan, Splintering Mind. When you play this card, choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards, send it to the warp. So that's really cool for just 1 energy, getting this out and warping something. But also for Spark and 7, when this card attacks, if your leader card is black, you may choose 2 of your cards in your life, send them to your warp, and then you choose 1 of your opponent's life, send it to your warp. So if you are at 3 life and they're at 1, bam, you win the game. Congrats. And then there's also the Devastator, and so he's just a 3-drop critical. Auto during your turn if your leader card is black and there are 15 or more Saiyan cards in your opponent's drop areas when this card attack is negated, or when this card fails to deal damage to your opponent's battle and with their leader, choose 1 card in your opponent's life and send it to the warp. So this is generically the better one if you can set up the drop areas like this, which is really weird to do because you're an overwhelm leader, but whatever. Because let me see, yeah, because the Black Mass Saiyan that they're talking about is this guy, and yeah, so it's a burst 3. When this card attacks, draw 1, flip 2 energy over, and then also choose up to 1, burst 3, choose up to 1 black battle card with energy cost 3 or more in your drop area to your hand. This gains plus K power for the duration of the turn. So you don't even get to draw 1, you have to just like get a specific black card with energy cost 3 or more, which is kind of weird and usually not helpful because, I don't know. It just seems like a weird deck, and I guess they're kind of like limited on how they were going to support the black card for this expansion, so they just kind of gave it to Black Mass Saiyan. So boom, there we go. And then lastly, the last cards to kind of review are people don't know this. They are making a Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Heroes card. There's like this Japanese card game that's Dragon Ball Super, but it's not this one. Even though this card game that we play is made in Japan, they actually don't sell in Japan, I don't believe. I could be wrong. But anyways, they're making a video game for the other one on a Nintendo Switch, and if you pre-order it, you get these cards, and here are the kind of, I don't know what the front side of the leader does. It looks like it awakens at 3 life, and it's an untap 1 and draw 1, but I don't really know for sure, so I'm not going to show it. But it's a big old double strike on the awakened side, which is really neat. And then also at the end, when it's a card attacks, draw 1, and then also you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards with 10k power or less and KO it. So you just get to blow stuff up sometimes. That's cool, I guess. And then there's also the 8-drop Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta critical combination. And I don't know if it is a Gogeta BR, so, but it's triple strike dual attack, which is already scary at 35k. But also, if your leader card is it just a Gogeta BR, and your life is at 2 or less, reduce the energy cost of this in your hand by 4? Yeah, by 4, and you can only have 1 of these and play in your battle area. So, if you're just about to die, and you can just drop this on 4 for specifically 4 red, it's kind of like the Frieza, but instead of having like quadruple strike and blowing up their field, it's just instead a big old triple strike dual attack. So you can do 6 damage with this guy instead of 4, but it's over 2 attacks, and then also it is you don't get any of the card destruction that the Frieza does. So It looks like they said that you're going to get 5 Dragon Ball Super cards. It's looking like you're going to get 1 leader and 4 of these promo, which is the correct way to do it, instead of like, I know like the old ways in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you'd just get like 3 cards and they all be one-ofs, and so you'd have to like apparently buy the game 3 times to get all the cards for it. But it looks like if you do want these cards, you can just do that. And my guess is these don't look game-breaking at all, which is also the right way to do this. But just gives kind of advantage for people who play the game, and if people really want it, they should be pretty cheap. So I think that's going to be it for me. Really interested to see some of these cards. I think the Agent of Destruction cards are really good. Something I forgot to mention, I should have started before. It's really awkward in this game to have cards that are really good on turn 1, but after that, if you don't see them on turn 1, you're just kind of feeling bad, and that's kind of happening with this 1-drop Bobbity, but also with like this King Piccolo Evil Ambitions, or any of these cards really, because they are essentially needed to awaken your deck, right? Which is just like a weird concept when you think about it more, compared to like the old way to awaken cards, like non-wish leaders. And so it really is, oh, do I awaken? Oh, it means actually, do I see this Uub in like the first 2 turns? Or like, oh, do I see this King Piccolo Evil Ambition in the first 2 turns? And if you don't, then that really sucks. And that's also sucks because these cards aren't searchable, right? Compared to like the Broly swap engine, all the swap cards are really searchable, so that's fine. You know what you're going to get on turn 1 most of the time, but all these cards are not searchable at all. I mean, I guess this card is with the 1-drop Frieza, or you can use like Frieza's Army. You could use Frieza's Army on this card. That's a good idea. I'm glad I really had it. So, but yeah, I don't know. It just seems it seems kind of weird. It's not game strategy that I support, just because it means there's a lot of inconsistency when you have such a swingy card on turn 1, right? Because it really just becomes, oh, do I see one of these cards in my opening hand? And I think that's really hard for this game with a 50 card deck, and yes, you get 4 copies. There are a lot of times not guaranteed. You always hear about the people who complain like, man, I didn't see a super combo during any of my game, and that really can happen in this deck. And I feel like it's makes it really susceptible to bricking because of that. So, but other than that, I'd be really interested to see how it works. I'm going to, of course, experiment with all these cards. It really sucks that these cards aren't coming out until April 1st, because I'd love to do like a green Chile and Limo deck, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be good until Uub comes out, but that's okay. And yeah, that's about it. I've been rambling. I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.